Let's just tell the truth today. There's this moment, a sharp, sobering moment, when you realize no one's watching. Not the way you thought they were, not the way you hoped they might. You've been running hard, maybe even burning yourself out, hoping someone might notice, that someone might say, "I see you. I'm proud of you." But what if I told you that moment doesn't come the way you expect? What if I told you it's not supposed to? Because here's the truth, most people don't want to admit, nobody cares about you, not the way you think they do. And before you let that break your heart, I want you to understand it's the most freeing truth you'll ever hear. People are dealing with their own stuff, their own heartbreak, their own shame. They don't have the capacity to show up for your dreams the way you imagined. And that's okay. That's actually where your power begins. Because once you stop waiting for the world to clap for you, to validate your effort or to understand your vision, you start moving differently. You start doing it for you. You get honest. You say, "I want this because I want it." Not because your parents dreamed it for you, not because your friends admire it, not because the world told you it's valuable, but because deep in your bones, you know it's yours. And yes, it's lonely sometimes. Doing it for yourself doesn't always come with fanfare or followers, but it does come with peace. And that peace, that's yours to keep. It's not your job to be understood by everyone. It's your job to understand yourself deeply enough to keep going even when no one claps, even when the only voice cheering is your own. You want to grow? Then take responsibility for your joy, your healing, your dreams, your boundaries, your peace. Nobody's coming to rescue you. And honestly, that's the best news ever because it means you're the one you've been waiting for. And once you get that, there's no stopping you. Let that sink in. Not in a cold, cynical way, but in a deeply honest, awakening kind of way. We grow up with this subtle belief, sometimes loud, sometimes buried, that someone will show up and fix it, that someone will hand us the roadmap, unlock the door, give us permission, or maybe even rescue us from our own chaos. We wait for the right partner to love us the way we've always dreamed. We wait for the mentor to tell us we're ready. We wait for our parents to finally say they're proud. We wait for the fear to go away, for the stars to align, for the perfect moment to begin. But here's what no one tells you when you're growing up. That moment isn't coming. That person isn't coming. And not because you're unworthy, not because you don't deserve it, but because life just doesn't work that way. People are navigating their own storms. They're trying to survive just like you. And they might love you, sure, but they can't save you. They can't walk the miles only you are meant to walk. It's not because they don't care. It's because you're healing, you're becoming, you're rising. It's sacred ground and only you can stand on it. When you stop waiting to be rescued, you reclaim your power. You realize you are both the problem and the solution. You are both the wound and the medicine. You are the person you've been waiting for. Yes, it's terrifying. Yes, it requires you to face your own mess. But it's also the most liberating thing you'll ever feel because from that moment on, you're not a victim of life. You become a co-creator of it. So no one is coming to save you, but the day you truly accept that is the day you start saving yourself. Self-worth isn't a group project. You don't need everyone in the room to agree with you in order to know who you are. But let's be real. We've all been there trying to crowdsource our confidence, waiting for a comment, a like, a compliment, you're doing great from someone outside of us before we allow ourselves to feel proud. We sit in rooms and shrink ourselves, hoping we'll be invited to take up space when the truth is no one can assign you value. You either own it or you give it away. And when you keep handing it off, when you build your worth on approval, attention, praise, you're building a life that will collapse the moment someone disapproves, the moment you're not applauded. It's exhausting, isn't it? Living like your value is on leash contingent on someone else's mood or validation. Let me tell you something that might sting a little. People don't think about you as much as you think they do. They're not sitting around evaluating your every move. They're wrapped in their own insecurities, their own need to be seen, their own questions about whether they're enough. So here's the real question. What would your life look like if you stopped waiting to be chosen? What if you stopped auditioning and just decided you are enough right now as you are? Not when they say so, not when they finally notice, but now because you said so. Your self-worth is yours to hold. And yes, it's a daily choice, a practice, sometimes a fight, but it's a fight worth showing up for, because when you stop treating your worth like a vote to be cast, you finally start living like someone who belongs to themselves. And that changes everything. Do it because it matters to you. Let's be honest. So much of what we chase isn't actually ours. We wear ambition like armor. We climb ladders we never wanted to be on. We say yes to things that look good on paper but feel hollow in our chest. Why? Because we were taught, sometimes directly, sometimes silently, that doing something meaningful meant it had to mean something to someone else too. That our dreams needed to be digestible, impressive, understandable. But here's the truth. If you keep living for applause, you'll always be performing. And performances are exhausting. They disconnect you from yourself. They keep you asking, am I doing this right? Instead of, is this right for me? You don't need permission to care about the thing that moves you. You don't need a panel of judges to validate your passion. You don't need to explain your fire to people who feel safer in the dark, because at the end of the day, you're the one who has to live with the choices you make, not the strangers on the internet, not your high school friends, not the people who don't get it. You. So do it because your soul lights up when you talk about it. Do it because it makes you feel alive, even if nobody claps. Do it because you can't not do it. This life is too short to water down your dreams so they're easier for other people to swallow. Let it be messy, let it be misunderstood, but above all, let it be yours. Because when you do it for you, you stop chasing fulfillment and start living it. Your healing, success, and peace are your responsibility. There comes a moment, quiet but undeniable, when you realize no one is going to hand you the life you want. No one is going to come in, sift through your wounds, rearrange your past, clear your path, and say, here's your joy, here's your healing, here's your peace. And honestly, that's hard to sit with, because sometimes, especially when we've been hurt, we feel like we're owed something, an apology, a do-over, a miracle. And maybe we are owed those things, but waiting for them keeps us stuck. It keeps us tethered to people who may never take accountability. It keeps us repeating patterns we're too tired to carry. It keeps us angry, anxious, or quietly resentful that life hasn't yet bent to our will. But here's the shift. Your healing isn't your fault, but it is your responsibility. What happened to you, that was never fair. But what happens next? That's where your power lives. You get to decide what you do with the pain. You get to decide whether it becomes a prison or a platform, and the same goes for your success. Nobody can want it more than you do. Nobody can outdream you in your own life. You can have cheerleaders, yes, but you still have to run the laps. You still have to show up when it's hard, when it's lonely, when it's inconvenient, because true success, the kind that's rooted, not just shiny, comes from ownership. And peace isn't found, it's built. It's built in boundaries, in brutal honesty, in walking away from the drama, the noise, the things that drain you, even when they're familiar. Peace comes when you stop blaming the world for being loud and start choosing silence within yourself. So yes, this is on you, not because you are alone, not because you have to do it perfectly, but because you are the only one who can live your life fully from the inside out. You are not powerless, you are not broken, you are becoming. And that responsibility, that's not a burden, it's a gift. Absolutely. This one's a soul shaker. Let's expand it with the full emotional weight it carries. Power comes when you stop begging to be seen and start choosing to see yourself. Let's talk about invisibility. Not the kind where no one knows your name, the kind where you keep showing up, doing the work, giving your heart, and still it feels like no one really sees you. You try to be good, smart, loyal, talented, strong, low maintenance. You perform, you shrink, you shine, you overgive, you underexpress, and still it's like they look through you, like you're standing in a crowded room screaming, "Look at me," and no one turns their head. Here's the hard truth. You can't make people see you if they're committed to not looking. And every time you twist yourself to be palatable, to be picked, to be praised, you chip away at the most sacred thing you have, your sense of self. You don't need to earn visibility. You were already born worthy of being seen. But the real shift, the kind that liberates you, is when you stop chasing it. When you stop begging someone else to validate your existence, your voice, your value, and instead you look yourself in the mirror and say, "I see you, I'm proud of you, I choose you," that's power. Because that kind of self-recognition isn't conditional. It's not based on your productivity, your popularity, or your proximity to success. It's rooted in the knowing that you are already enough. Even in the mess, even in the process, even in the becoming, you don't need the spotlight. You need your own light turned all the way up. You stop asking for a seat at someone else's table and start building your own. You stop waiting to be invited and start realizing you are the invitation. And once you really see yourself, you won't settle for being half seen ever again. If you'd like, I can now help you stitch all these expanded notes together into a full-length speech with natural transitions, or turn them into a written article, video script, or social post series. Just say the word. Here's what I want you to walk away with. You were never meant to be a bystander in your own life. The truth is, nobody's coming to save you. Your healing, your success, your peace, they're yours to own, to fight for, and to create. And when you stop waiting for someone else's approval, when you stop begging for visibility, that's when you discover your real power. Your self-worth is not up for a vote. It's not something to be determined by anyone else's perception of you. It's yours to decide. You are already enough. And when you do it for yourself, when you stop asking for permission and start choosing what lights you up, the world around you shifts. The moment you begin to see yourself, to honor who you truly are and what you truly want, that's the moment you step into a life that's completely yours. So stop waiting, stop shrinking, stop begging, and start claiming your space. Start showing up for you, because you deserve that more than anyone else ever will. You deserve to be seen, to be heard, and to be fully, unapologetically you. Do it because it matters to you. And when you do, you'll realize that you were always the one you were waiting for. Let's just take a breath here. Because the world moves fast, doesn't it? Everywhere you turn, it feels like someone's ahead of you, doing more, achieving faster, living louder. And it's so easy, so painfully easy to look at your life and feel like you're falling behind. Behind in success, behind in healing, behind in confidence, love, purpose, joy. But here's what no one talks about loud enough. There's no such thing as behind when you're living your own life. You're not late. You're not lost. you're becoming. And becoming is not a linear journey. It's not tidy. It doesn't follow a map. It's full of detours, pauses, breakdowns, rebuilds, and quiet seasons that look like nothing's happening on the outside, but are transforming everything on the inside. Growth doesn't always announce itself. Sometimes it's invisible. Sometimes it's a choice to rest. Sometimes it's walking away from what's familiar, even if it scares you. Sometimes it's crying on the floor and still getting up the next morning, even if all you do is breathe. Becoming means honoring the pace that your soul needs, not the one Instagram says you should be on, not the one your family expects, not the one your inner critic screams about at 2 a.m. You are not a machine. You are not a checklist. You are a living, evolving human being who is learning to hold space for the parts of you that are still soft, still growing, still unsure. And here's what matters most, that you keep showing up, that you keep listening to the quiet voice inside that says, keep going, we're not done yet. There's nothing wrong with where you are. It's not too late. You're not too far behind. You're in the middle of becoming someone strong, honest, and rooted. Trust the process. Honor the timing. You're not behind. You're exactly where your becoming begins. Let me know if you want this styled as a quote, graphic, or paired with another piece for content creation. Peace is built, not found. Peace isn't something you stumble upon like spare change on the sidewalk. It doesn't fall out of the sky the moment life gets quiet or everything finally goes your way. Peace isn't a destination. It's construction. And you're the builder. We're told subtly or outright that peace